Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawudah, coming back at you. This is truth. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick. As the writing is on the wall, man. All right, these prophecies are speaking loud and clear. It's not a so-called conspiracy or whatnot. Hey, man, these Edomites even know about this, man. All right, so this one here is coming from RT. It says, the end of American power. Don't blame Trump. Don't expect Biden to save it either. Now, I did a video on this the other day, how basically they're in a lose-lose situation. Neither one of these two people can really save this here scenario. First and foremost, it's all throughout the spirit of the Most High. This is his plan that's being played out right now, all right? But second of all, if this was a carnal situation, let's take the Most High out of this. This situation didn't just come up with just one person. This is something that's been being built over a long period of time. All right. So I'm gonna actually skip through a lot of this here article, but it says let me read this. Let me read the first two. It says, fretting about the U.S. declining global power has far been a parlor game among establishment thinkers, but now it seems to be nervous consensus in the Beltway that the days of world leadership are indeed fast approaching. The error in such thinking, however, is to blame it all on President Donald Trump for being some kind of rogue leader, with implications that if Democratic contender Joe Biden were to win the White House next week, then happily the historic decline of U.S. global power might be reversed. This is why you have, one of the reasons why you have a lot of people talking about going out and vote. Now, when you talk about these simple ass Jakes out here, these simple ass Negroes out here talking about, oh, you got to vote as if our life depend on it. Like, oh, if Donald Trump win, they're going to all come out with their guns and start murdering every single black person out here. They brainwashed about that. But when you hear these other Edomites and stuff talking about these things, all right, because they realize and they see that America, their kingdom is gone. So they're putting, in a sense, Donald Trump is their Lord and their Savior, man, because they're betting on him to make this here place, they look at his campaign, make America great again, all right, for them, because their thing has been declining for so long. So let me jump down to, this was a good one too, but there's some certain points down here. There's like 10 points I want to read. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not going to read that just for time's sake. All right. Because they were talking about up in these paragraphs above is like saying basically, ultimately, this isn't something that happened overnight, and it's not nothing that's going to be fixed overnight. All right. So here's some of the main issues, all right, that they talk about. All right. Because they named them up here, but let me go through the points. It says the economic rise. Hold on. Let me go up and read this. All right. It says the American century or Pax Americana is turning into a Pax Americana. Traditionally, the sense of the U.S. global dominance has relied on three pillars: economic, military, and cultural power. All right. Now, to go further into that, which they'll go into this a little bit, but nevertheless, with this economics, they have the petrodollar. All right. And if you understand that, if you want to buy oil, sell oil, convert, how do they say, not convert oil, like if you want to refine oil, all right, if you even want to transport oil, you have to use the American dollar to be able to do such things. So even if America didn't, if Russia want to sell Germany some oil, all right, Germany has to get American dollars, all right, to make that transaction happen, right? So this is why America can keep taxing off of that, just like when you go to the bank. Oh, well, we will allow you to put your money in our bank and use our card or whatever, whatnot, or so on and so forth. And then you go to the store, you go buy something. Now you're taking your money out of your bank to go pay, let's say, 7-Eleven, the gas station or whatever, whatnot. When you use your card at that little kiosk thing, the little box that you put the card in or whatever, whatnot, that company is actually, you're actually paying out a little charge for that as well, too. So that third party is getting, whether it be like a 0.5% or whatever, let's just say they get 10 cents off of every transaction that goes through. Think about it. Throughout the whole day, they making money just for you using their box. This is like America with their petrodollar, right? Military, right? Now you go into this, first and foremost, they were the only people to actually drop basically a nuclear bomb on somebody. All right. So, because, other nations actually have nukes too, mainly Russia, right? But Russia, they tested the world's largest bomb, but they ain't really bombed nobody with it yet. But America showed force by using that bomb and threatening other people with that. That's when they was launched into a superpower status, and they was basically the sole superpower at that time because they basically was the only people with the balls to be able to use the damn bomb on anybody, right? And cultural power. Ultimately, this is just going into the whitewashing of America, of the world. You know, America's the great dominant. So, you know, they say something about it up here, but basically it's talking about, oh, America's number one at everything, right? So let's read these points. The economic rise and surpassing of China as the world's number one economy. Chronic trade deficits indicate the U.S. is no longer a productive economy, but one characterized by stock market financial willing dealing, divorced from the real world, and inhibited by most citizens, right? Inhabited by most citizens. So really, it's just a Ponzi scheme, man. All right, because you have to understand, you're really based off of what you can produce, all right, and sell. You know, it's just like you got a farm or some shit, right? Okay, you plant and you reap, then you sell your product, right? That's gonna be your gross domestic product, of what you get in and get out. You know, this is your trade. But however, if you just really playing with monopoly money or something like that, you're not really making no money like that. And that's what you have going on right now. You know, the most amount of money that's actually being made here in America is based off of the stock market. You know, they tell you, oh, this company's going up higher and higher and higher, so on and so forth. So your money is actually so-called gaining some kind of value, but in reality, they're just pumping money in and really deflating your money that you have. You know, let's say you have $100 in there. You look at it later on, it turned to $2,000 or $3,000. You think you actually making more money, but they're just putting more money into the system, which, where it would have cost you $100 to buy something, now it's costing you $1,000 to pay for the same thing. All right. I.e., look at your one-bedroom apartments in the hood. They used to be about $500 to rent, $300, $400, $500 to rent. Now they're like $1,200 to rent a one-bedroom apartment in the hood. You know, depending on where you at. Some places, it's super way more expensive, i.e., New York, California. But, in general, in certain places, you could get it at this here price. Well, the apartment didn't get any bigger. You know what I'm saying? You ain't really getting no more money, but they've devalued your money, so it takes more money to make the same purchase, all right? It says, the once mighty U.S. dollar is no longer the sole currency for international trade. Russia, China, and other Eurasian nations are moving towards using national currencies for exchange. And also, you have China coming out with the petro yuan to get off the petrodollar. The BRICS nations, all right, which is basically they trying to cut America, again, trying to get away from the IMF. If you understand about the International Monetary Fund, all right. So if you know anything about central banks, or Federal Reserve on the smallest level, you look at any dollar bill, they got that little letter on there around it to tell you which Federal Reserve bank it was printed from, which state it comes from. Now, if you understand that on the lowest level of how our money operates here, they have a bigger situation than that called the IMF, right? So if your local bank needs some money in their bank, they go to the Federal Reserve to get their money printed out. But when nations need money, all right, they go to the International Monetary Fund, which is just a bigger branch of that to get this money printed out. All right, but they're trying to replace all of that with what? The BRICS nations. All right. In terms of culture, America's soft power has greatly diminished, as can be seen from numerous international public surveys which report growing contempt for the U.S. presumptions of leadership. Further, international public opinion views American unilateralism as a global security threat. The pride of these damn Edomites. U.S. exhortations to other nations to obey its political demands, such as sanctions on Iran at the UN, are increasingly ignored, that speak of weakened moral and political authority. People are starting to wake up to say, is this the man that did weakest to nations? Why are we gonna believe you about these people having weapons of mass destruction? Every time you said that, we didn't use all of our money and our resources to go bomb these countries and they ain't found shit yet. Now everybody looking at us as bad. You got right now in France, they just basically had a terrorist attack. They got the little Muslim situation popping back up over there nevertheless. But they saying, hey, y'all brought this on y'all self with y'all anti-Muslim rhetoric or whatever, whatnot, painting the some cartoon pictures of the Prophet Muhammad, which is, infuriating these Muslims. And then apparently the Muslims is coming back striking or whatever, whatnot, But nevertheless, it says numerous statements from European leaders, Merkel, which is Angela Merkel from Germany, and what's the homeboy's first name? President Emmanuel Macron from France. All right, indicates a loss of confidence in the U.S. as traditional leaders. While Biden may talk about restoring America's alliance, it is by no means clear if transatlantic bonds can be repaired. All right, they putting sanctions on them again. When you go to Germany, they beefing over the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. They trying to buy oil and stuff from Russia at a cheaper price for a better quality, but America trying to put sanctions on their own people for trying to come up. It says studies show unprecedented collapse in social conditions in the U.S. from indicators of human health to civic infrastructure. These hallmarks are past empires undergoing collapse. All right, because people can't afford healthcare, people can't afford to live. People, hey, you ain't got no jobs over here, whatever, whatnot. So all these people are protesting and at each other's throats. You got the Black Lives Matter, the racism. They putting all kind of stuff on our people now. That's driving people crazy, forcing people to say to their children, with the alphabet groups or whatever, whatnot. All that stuff is really stirring up the minds of these people. Several nations are openly defying U.S. bullying despite the wielding sanctions. Is this the man? That did weakest the nations, that destroyed the whole earth, that didn't open the house of his prisoners. This is what these nations are saying now. In addition to major powers, China and Russia, small and medium-sized nations are increasingly ignoring Washington's threats. Are thou become weak as we? Including Bolivia, Nicaragua, Syria, Venezuela, joining longtime resistors like Cuba, Iran, and North Korea. All right, which pretty much all these nations are being backed by Russia right now. American impotence to bend to other nations to its will is becoming more apparent. Its futile use of sanctions to coerce nations is only rebounding to further undermine its global image, betraying pretensions of virtue with more accurate images of insufferable tyrant. The abysmal mishandling of the coronavirus pandemic in the U.S. compared with China, China or South Korea, is a graphic illustration of systematic power outage. The U.S. does not have political or financial resources to properly deal with the crisis, which expose systematic weaknesses. The political polarization within the United States speak of unbridgeable divisions in a population of 330 million to the point where violent unrest and even civil war is feared. The implosion of common political ground fatally undermines the trust of governing institutes, including the media. All right, this concurs with recent article by Slavoj Zek, who argues the functioning limits of liberal democracy have been reached in the U.S. Something radically different is required, but there's still so far little consensus among citizens about what it entails. All right, and the social protests. You also have, like I said, that this is going back up to what we just read. Now let's actually go into some scriptures real quick. Not too much, but this is the inevitable end of America, man. All right. So like I was saying earlier up in the article, it don't matter who wins, Trump or Biden. It didn't even matter who won between Trump and who do you run against? Hillary Clinton. Let's say Hillary Clinton would have won. Same shit would have been going on. Let's say Barack Obama would have somehow stayed in office until now. The same shit would be going on. All right. It's no difference. All right. So this is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. All right. And this is basically what this article is saying as well. America was that golden city that everybody looked to for that light, that shine, that hope, that support. All right. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right. Because see, America was the one, y'all all out here starving, and I'm the only one with the food and the resources. So I'm gonna start feeding y'all. But not only am I feeding, y'all come in, oh, y'all starving, y'all, oh, this is so good, it's filling up my belly and everything like that. But see, now it's starting to settle in. They starting to realize you just slipped them some kind of poison. So now they slowly but surely getting sick, and they realizing, oh shit, hold up, this actually ain't a good situation for us, man. It sounds good that, let's say for instance, NATO. All right, hey, we need to make this agreement, blah, 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 because we're stronger together. If somebody was to try to come up against any of you smaller nations or whatever, whatnot, we're going to all come out the woodwork, because a lot of those European nations are very small or whatever, whatnot. And, somebody like a China or Russia or India or anybody like that could easily just roll over them. But then it's like, shit, well, we'll get the protection of all these European nations plus America, who's a big dog militarily. All right, it sounds good at first, but like, again, you ate the food because you were starving. Oh, shit, yeah, this is good for now. But now you're starting to realize there's a little bit of poison in this food, man. I don't feel right. We not really backing you. We're going over into the Middle East after 9/11. But guess what? We was drug into it. Now we found somebody to give us better oil at a cheaper price, and it'll get here a lot quicker. But guess what? Y'all gonna put sanctions on us for getting that? Oh, what kind of deal is that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got beef with these people over there, but we can't go to war with them. We can't have beef with them because you backing our enemies. I thought you was on our side. you know? So it says, Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, those philosophies. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. And this is what this article is going into. Like, yo, man, this is it. It's going, it's crashing and burning, man. It's only, you're on that train going full steam ahead across the damn bridge, and the bridge is out. The tracks don't go no more. It's like, well, you ain't went over the cliff yet, but you like 300 feet away from it at full steam. There's no way you can stop. You ain't fell off the cliff yet, but, give it about 35 more seconds. Your ass is going to be off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we at right now, man. All right. It says, verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. All right. So, hey, look, it says Babylon is suddenly fallen. And now it's way more apparent than ever since 2020 came around, because before we was, not just us, but, these economic analysts and everybody like that was talking about these things for years on end. It was like, yo, y'all done got rid of all your manufacturing jobs and everything like that. You're not producing anything to trade with these other nations for America to be able to make no money. All right. And, this is why Donald Trump is able to say, oh, we want to bring the jobs back to America. Well, the majority of these manufacturing jobs have been sent away from America from before he was even in office, before Barack Obama was in office. A lot of them started going with George Bush. All right. I remember I was a lot younger at that point in time, but nevertheless, a lot older people who worked at these factories and stuff, Honeywell and whatnot, and they just wound up shutting down all these plants and everything like that, and all these jobs went overseas and everything like that. All right. So Donald Trump would say, hey, we need to make America great again, bring these jobs back. Well, the problem is the reason that America got rid of all these jobs to begin with was because they wanted cheaper labor. All right. Americans, these Edomites, they don't like working. They lazy. They want everything quick, fast, and cheap. All right. It's like your iPhones. You already complaining about $1,000 damn iPhone, which these phones is only like $2 to be made over there in China anyway. They paying them pennies on the dollar. Everybody make jokes about how they got the sweatshops in China. Everything we got come from China. So imagine, you know what I'm saying? Those $1,000 iPhones, if they was being brought back here to America, they also screaming about they wanted $15 and $20 minimum wage, across the whole board, which it only really makes sense in certain places like New York, where it's super expensive. The cost of living is super expensive up there. All right. Now I know a place in Georgia where it's like literally for like, the median income for like the higher level people over there is like $30,000-$40,000. Like, you know what I'm saying? You balling if you're making $30,000-$40,000 a year over there. You know what I'm saying? You can go buy you a damn big ass mansion for $80,000, man. But there's some places like here in Florida, you can't find no house in the hood for under $100,000. You see what I'm saying? Hey, up to New York, some of them houses is like $700,000-$800,000 to be living in the hood, But nevertheless, these people over here are begging for a higher minimum wage because they want to get paid more and do less work because the work is all hard and they want to be lazy or whatever, whatnot. So your $1,000 iPhone is being made for $2 over in China. If you was to bring that job back to America, that $1,000 iPhone would be $20,000. Then you'd really be asking for a minimum wage raise to pay for all the things that you got, man. All right, your regular little Fruit of the Loom T-shirts and underwears and socks and your Jordans and all these things are made over in China. So besides the Jordans, those actually cost quite a bit of money. But just think about the rest of your little cheap shit that's made over there, man. All right. How many of you Americans would like to be working here in America making T-shirts in a factory and getting paid enough for these T-shirts to be selling for like you can get a 5-pack 5 for $5? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, they paying them pennies on the dollar for all of this, man. All right. Or if not, they got the machines to replace you. This is why everybody's sitting at home now. They don't need you to work no more. You want the jobs back? They got the AI to do it all, man. All right. So economically, it's no coming back. All right. It says we would have healed Babylon. I don't know if I read 8. Let me read 8 again. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. And so you're seeing a lot of these different companies and things like that leaving out of America over these high trade taxes, tariffs, and things like that. The taxes over here. All right, the different loopholes or whatever they got over here. This is why they have some things called offshores, bank accounts, or overseas bank accounts, because these smart Edomites on this side who have all this big money, they don't take their money, they don't leave their money over here because they're getting taxed. They talking about taxing like 49 to 50, 60-something% of your income. That's like your paycheck is $500. You made $500 on your paycheck, but you only get to bring home 250 of it. You see what I'm saying? Hey, this is why, you know what I'm saying, nobody's really trying to do no business over here for the most sake. So they're leaving out of this here country. They're taking their business elsewhere. Also, these other major companies are trying to do deals with other people instead of cutting America out, you know. But it says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. All right, going into what? Donald Trump talking about, hey, we're going to make America great again. This is the sentiment of everybody. Let's make America great again. Look at the article we're reading. America's on a decline, it's on a downfall, but guess what? They're hoping that it's going to bounce back. But what does it say here? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, let us go everyone into his own country, for a judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up to the skies. So guess what? America's not bouncing back, man. This is the end all be all, man. All right, you better just take it with a straight face. Live it up, man. All right. Other scripture I wanted to read was give me a second. Oh yeah. This is Isaiah chapter 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. All right. Again, talking about America. Sit on the ground, there's no throne. All right. Because see, well, it's in verse 5 as well. But we just actually read this about how America was like the golden cup, that shining city, right? It says, sit on the ground, there's no throne, right? So you was at the head, you know, you was sitting on that throne, you was the golden city, but guess what? The Most High is taking that position away from you. Now these other nations, you know, America's the sole superpower of the earth, but now these other nations are making preparations for basically America's fall. Real quick, not to make this video too long. When you read over here in Psalms 2, right? Let me get this is all the same thing. It's actually worded better in Psalms 2 then. So going into these heathen rage, Psalms 2:1, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh, or the Lord, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords away from us, right? So when you understand all these different things that you read, Psalms 2, Psalms 46, you know, this is all going into what? You know, the time, basically the time that we're in right now, man. All right, because these nations are seeing America about to fall as being the sole superpower of the earth, sitting on that throne, and they jockeying for position to see who gonna come up next. This is why they building these, like we were reading, hey, China's becoming an economic power, Russia's becoming a military power. You see what I'm saying? So to knock America out of this position, because America's number one in all these positions, right? So going back to Isaiah 47, come down, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right. So, hey, this was the untouched nation, the one that sit it up all nice. You know, you got this let's just call it an Edomite chick in this all white dress. You know what I'm saying? All clean and everything like that, while everybody else outside sweating in the dirt or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, somebody, you know, she's swinging in a little swing from the tree. All of a sudden, somebody come by and throw a goddamn bucket of mud on her ass. Now this is what America's looking like. Oh, before you was all nice and clean and all pretty and everything, but they just dumped a bucket of mud on you, man. Now you starting to show forth for what you really are. Verse 2, take the millstone and grind meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Now there's also talk about how what Russia's like, we ain't gonna do a second shutdown. We economically prepare for this. But look at what this shutdown is doing to America. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man. And so what is happening to America? Their shame is being seen right now. Let me jump down just for, time's sake. Verse 5, sit thou silent, get into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldees, for thou shalt be no more called the Lady of Kingdoms. So this is that golden city, man. You're no longer going to be called the Lady of Kingdoms, man. You're no longer going to be called the glorious city, the sole superpower of the earth, the one that everybody looks to, man. You falling out of that position. These other nations are jockeying for position for that right now, man. If they had the real understanding that the Lord was about to come and reign over top of these nations, that's why when you read in Psalms 46, the Lord going to laugh and have them in derision. You know what I'm saying? Also in Psalms 2, but nevertheless, they were preparing themselves to rule next, man. All right. Jumping down to verse 7, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. All right, because why? You touched the apple of the Most High's eye. All right, you used Jake to build up this here nation for you, and you bombed, and you basically shitted on everybody around the whole planet Earth, man. All right. So now what? They're gonna come back looking at you. Let me get it how it's written in the scripture. Habakkuk. Is it Habakkuk 2:5? Well, 2:5 and 6. Well, I gotta read to 8. So Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine. Babylon is making all the nations drunk. You know what I'm saying? Now they're mad. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, because he's always in all these other nations dealing with the shit that they got going on and overthrowing their governments. Who enlarges his desire is hell, and as his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, to rule over them, not to be side by side with him. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? All this major debt that America's got, this military budget that they're spending. They spend more money than what is either the next 7 or the next 9 countries' militaries combined. All right, so the number 2 biggest spender, plus the number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all of them combined don't even come close to what America's spending on their own. So America is going further and further in the debt to spend on their military to maintain that military dominance over the whole earth. All right. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? And this is what these nations are doing. They jockeying for position. They about to come over here and take your ass, man. Verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. All right. So, hey, man, this nation about to be touched for all the things that they wind up doing to the rest of the world. And not only them, but the Israelites. So going back, verse 7, Isaiah 47:7. And thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou art given to pleasures, and dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I will not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. All right. So he's saying in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. That's the soul superpower. Who's gonna present a threat to us? You know, what and in reality, what single nation can come up against America, man? All right. This is why it's gonna have to be a conglomeration of nations that come up against America. Not just that, America's allies are gonna want to turn it on America. All right, and wasting this place, man. You see in the things that's leading up, the domino effect is leading up to their allies about to leave them. All right, verse 8. Therefore hear now this, thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that says in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. All right, and this is one thing that I've been hearing ever since I was in middle school to high school and a little bit after school. Oh, America ain't gonna never be touched. America ain't gonna never be bombed. We ain't never been invaded. Ain't no military gonna ever come over here. We not gonna ever lose nothing. And like if American military show up, after 9/11 they was sending troops over there. They just was sending them over there and they didn't even think about them. They wasn't even, oh, well, it's all good. They're gonna come back. We gonna win, be victorious anyway. They was still partying and whatnot. But guess what? It says, therefore hear now this, thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. All right, so they think they're going to go on forever. Their houses is going to go on forever. But these two things shall come upon thee in a moment and one day. All right, hey, going into, what is that, Revelation 18, 1 day and 1 hour. All right, they're going to be standing out, looking afar off from the smoke rising up. All right. But these two things shall come to thee in the moment and one day, the loss of children and widowhood, and they shall come upon thee in the perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thy enchantment. All right. So, hey, they had to do a lot of this witchcraft to get to where they're at, man. All right. But nevertheless, this is the end all be all for America, man. You watching the downfall of America right before your eyes, man. You're living in it right here, right now, man. All right. You're at the end of this here society, just like when Egypt had its end of its global dominance. Medo-Persia had its end of its global dominance. All right. Greece transferred into Rome, and Rome basically wound up falling off for a time period. And all these transitions of kingdoms and everything like that, if you think about it, like, damn, I wonder what it was like living in there when that nation actually fell. You was living in Rome and everything was all good. And then all of a sudden the empire split, things changed up. Somebody else came up, or the Egyptians was balling till the Babylonians came through. Babylonians was balling into the Assyrians came through, and the Assyrians was balling while the Babylonians, and then so on and so forth, you know. But hey, you right now in the new Babylon, the last great Babylon, all right, and you watching it decline and go through its downfall right now, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.